These are creepy TikToks that'll make you rethink
Standing
your
directly
whole
in the middle
reality.
of the tracks was the shape of a person, but this figure was unnaturally tall, standing stiff, arms at both sides.
She ends up deciding to leave because she feels uncomfortable, but before she does, she takes this photo of the entrance to send to her friend and tell her about this creepy woman. But I want to look at this photo a little closer.
Captain Briggs and his family never returned. The ship was seen in early December of that same year, drifting outside of Portugal. They never made it to their destination.
All of a sudden, one of the Marines just starts screaming. He throws his weapon down and just takes off running, like through enemy territory with no weapon.
The shoes that he attempted to come out with, obviously they got canceled because, Nike did sue over this shoe because it was made with real human blood. The guy states that it was a bunch of pricks, to get his blood for these shoes. Let's actually look at these shoes real quick.
I'm back, it's your boy Fittie to the E, and today I got this compilation for you guys. Remember to like the video. The chains are also free, so check the link down in the description. I started posting YouTube shorts because I kind of slowed down on my long form content. That's because I'm working on a lot of things for you guys. My in-person content. Working on the in-person content. You can see your boy got a camera. I think I told you guys that the last video, I'm pretty sure. And I also set up a Patreon so you guys can see the bloopers of any in-person video I'm about to make in the future, and also the censored version of these videos. So make sure to check out the Patreon down in the description. Also check out the YouTube shorts. Right now I'm trying to get everything sorted, so let's just jump right into the video.
It's not very often that a photo gives me chills. I don't know, there's just like something about seeing a school after dark that I do not like. But this story actually has a very dark backstory. It was taken by a student named Zachary Nicola after he snuck into his school after dark. But if you look to the dead center of the photo, you're gonna notice that something is not right here. And quickly before we dive in, I just have to say thank you to you for making my podcast, Creep Time the Podcast, the top 10 in the country. Huge deal. Top 10 on Spotify, so thank you so much. If you haven't listened, please go click the link in my bio. The student who took the photo, he eventually went missing that night, so they did an emergency break of his iCloud and they found the final photo. In the center of that picture, you would see that he was not alone in that room. When zoomed in, there was clearly a person standing there in the dark. Police never came to know who this person was or why they were involved. This final photo has just become a haunting memory Zachary left behind.
That's really scary, but I'm thinking about it like this. As a student, why would you want to go back to school after you left school? Like, bro, you're at home, just chill. You don't need to go back into school in the dark. And now, boom, some random other kid or other creature that was in the dark took him. R.I.P. that dude.
This is one of the scariest ghost stories I've heard, so now everyone's got to hear it. Back in 2003, there was this group of deployed American Marines who got moved into abandoned military housing that was dubbed Ghost Town. It got the name because apparently the first group of Marines that lived there only made it a week before they couldn't live there anymore. They said they couldn't sleep the entire time they were there. Like all night they would hear the sounds of children laughing, of like footsteps upstairs when there was no one there. I talk about it this week on the podcast, but one night the new group that had moved in had to go out and patrol the area. So they're walking through the neighborhood, like past a bunch of abandoned houses, and then all of a sudden, one of the Marines just starts screaming. He throws his weapon down and just takes off running, like through enemy territory with no weapon. So half of the Marines chase after him, and then the other half turn around to see what he was screaming at. They said that behind them, there was this creature that looked like a shadow come to life. It was really tall and skinny, but they said it had these bright, glowing red eyes. But before they knew what to do, it just vanished. The craziest part is that multiple other people have reported seeing this exact creature like in the area. If you want to hear more of these stories, you gotta check out the podcast this week.
The ending of the story will get you. I promise. It'll get you. This is room 102.
A guy named Rowan was in town for a work event and was staying at a local bed and breakfast during his stay. He went to the front desk to check in when he got there, and the woman working told him that on the way to his room,
there was a door that was locked that he should avoid. Room 102, no one was allowed in there.
Rowan said, okay, went up to his room and fell asleep for the night. The next day, curiosity got the better of him when he passed that room, so he jiggled the door handle, locked. He then bent down so he could look through the keyhole. Inside the room was a woman whose skin was completely white. She was leaning against the wall, facing away from the door.
He thought it was strange, but went back to his room.
The next day, he walked past the room and decided to look through that keyhole again. This time, all he could see was red. He couldn't make out anything, but it seemed like whoever was in the room blocked the keyhole with something red. He then went down to the front desk to check out and mentioned to the woman that he looked into the forbidden room.
She sighed and said, "Well, I might as well tell you the full story."
She said a long time ago, a guest mysteriously passed in that room and her ghost haunts it, so they had to close it to the public. But the strange thing was, she wasn't an ordinary woman. She had pale white skin, except for her eyes, which were red.
I told you, the ending would get you.
Oh no, that's weird. So she's just looking at him, looking into her peephole. So they're just both looking at each other like, and she's just like, what the hell? I mean, he was just like, what the hell? He was like, oh, why is it just red? Guess they just covered it. The whole time it's just her looking at him. But isn't that weird? If her eyes were red, wouldn't you just be able to see like the little dot, like her little pupil right there? So technically, if that wasn't there, she didn't really see him, right?
Never stick around in a school library at night, and this is the exact reason. This picture was captured by Jalen Nell. She was in her school library, and this is the entrance point, and she's in there at like 2 something in the morning, and she thought she was completely alone. Until she realized that there was another woman in this library, and she was being watched. She ends up deciding to leave because she feels uncomfortable, but before she does, she takes this photo of the entrance to send to her friend and tell her about this creepy woman. But I want to look at this photo a little closer. In the frame, she had unknowingly captured the woman who was staring directly at the camera. This visual is chilling. Jalen would actually end up reporting this incident to Student Affairs, who then checked the camera footage at the entrance of the library. What really unnerved them is that when they looked at the footage, they never saw this person leave the library.
This story will send a chill down your spine. This is the ride.
A guy named Brad moved to a small town in Georgia and was settling in, meeting his new neighbors. And he learned that most of the residents there believed that one of the back roads that led in and out of town was haunted.
But Brad didn't believe in ghosts, so he never really asked much about it.
One day, he went to visit a buddy who lived an hour outside of town. The two ended up going to dinner and stayed out late, much later than he had planned.
And by the time he left for home, it was late, around midnight.
As he was driving, the road was pitch black. He could barely even see ahead of him. He was almost home when he squinted to see a woman walking along the road alone. Normally, he would have driven past, but it was late and it was about to start storming any second, so he decided to offer her a ride. She got into his car and held her hands up to the vents to capture the warmth, eventually taking off her jacket when she warmed up. And it was good timing as it started storming as soon as she got in the car. She thanked Brad for picking her up and said her name was Eve and directed him to her home.
Eve was kind and just seemed lost.
They eventually pulled up to her house, she thanked him again, and she went inside. But when Brad got home, he discovered that she had left her jacket in his car. He wanted to return it, so the next morning he drove back to the house where he dropped her off and rang the bell. An older woman answered the door, and he handed her the jacket. Brad said, "I gave your daughter Eve a ride home last night, and she left this in my car."
It was then the woman began to cry.
As she wiped away the tears, the woman said, "My daughter Eve was struck by a hit-and-run driver years ago. It happened on that back road, and when she was hit, she was wearing a jacket just like this one." After that, Brad became a believer and knew why all the locals spoke so often of that road being haunted.
He just had no idea that he would end up giving that ghost a ride home.
You know, if I was him, I'd start believing in ghosts too. I'd be like, yo, ain't no way that just happened. Nah, that's a little bit scary, bro. I think he's good, though. He should be a grown man. He's good.
What the heck is this?
Mysterious creature floats in a river near a village in Indonesia. Measuring at 23 meters long and 4 meters wide, it is said that many people were going missing when they went into the river.
I have no words. I'm never swimming ever again. No.
It literally looks like a dragon. At first I was like, is that a dragon? But then I was like, those don't even exist.
One of the most beautiful and one of the most haunted.
In 1892, a mysterious young woman who only identified herself as Lottie A. Bernard checked into San Diego's Hotel Del Coronado. She arrived on Thanksgiving Day alone. She was using a fake name and said she was meeting a gentleman there.
And many believed that this was a secret lover. But days passed and this gentleman never showed.
Hotel staff found the mystery woman lying near the beach one day. She had decided to end it all. Police realized that Lottie Bernard didn't exist and couldn't find anything to positively ID the woman. And through newspapers, she became simply known as the Beautiful Stranger. She was later ID'd as 24-year-old Kate Morgan. And ever since, hotel visitors and employees alike have reported ghostly encounters. Coincidentally, many of them in Kate Morgan's room, hearing a woman's voice, footsteps, TV, and lights flickering on and off. Most chillingly, the ghost of Kate Morgan herself has been seen in the hallways and along the shore where she passed. To this day, the story of Kate Morgan, the Beautiful Stranger, fascinates guests, and her room is the most requested in the hotel.
I visited the Hotel Del Coronado a few years back, and it is one of the most beautiful hotels, but I didn't see Kate. Have you ever been? And if so, have you spotted the beautiful stranger?
Nah, I've never been there, but hey, if I go, I might have to look out for her. I'm like, yo, what are you doing, bro?
Something seemed a little off about this photo. Danielle Berner, she's at work, her kids are at school, and she gets a ring notification saying that there was motion detected in her daughter's bedroom. It's like virtually impossible to tell that anything's even wrong with this picture. I couldn't even tell that there was something wrong with it until I looked at the bottom right of that bed. There's someone hiding under her daughter's bed. And unfortunately, she didn't catch this either, so she would end up coming home that evening after work. By the time her daughters got back from school, they were the first to find the remains of their mother. And even with this, a digitally enhanced version of the footage provided by police, they have never found who it was who was under that bed.
I've been trying to think, like, how do some of these people get into their houses, bro? Gotta keep your windows and doors locked. Damn. I feel bad for those kids, though. Imagine, dude.
Unsolved Mysteries Part 6. This is the story of the Mary Celeste. In 1872, Captain Briggs, his family, and a few crew members set sail out of the New York harbor for Genoa, Italy. They had 6 months' provisions and a few luxuries in the ship, including an upright piano. Captain Briggs and his family never returned. The ship was seen in early December of that same year, drifting outside of Portugal. They never made it to their destination. Upon investigation, the ship was empty, and the lifeboat was gone. Other than a few things being thrown around in the captain's quarters, nothing seemed out of the ordinary. The last entry in the captain's log didn't indicate any kind of disaster. No one knows what happened. Over the years, there have been some crazy theories about what happened, including pirates, mutiny, and sea monsters. But the truth about what happened has never come out. And the bodies of Briggs, his family, and the crew have never been found.
That's exactly what I was thinking. I was like, it's honestly probably pirates, if we're being honest. Like, pirates back in those days, they used to just take over every ship they saw because of anything. And they said that ship had a luxury of having a piano. Definitely some pirates. It should be really scary too. Like, imagine just you're off to Italy and like your mom or dad is off to Italy. You're just there in New York and you're like, wonder if they're ever coming back. Remember, you don't have cell phones. You don't have phones you can just call. Like, you have to write letters. And then you're like, damn, this man hasn't responded to me in like the last 3 years. You're like, oh yeah, he's gone, bro. But what if he was just still alive and he just didn't have anyone to contact you? Think about that one.
Have you heard the terrifying story of the train track man? And yes, this is a true story. In 2006 in Wisconsin, a girl was hanging out with her boyfriend after school one day.
The weather was great and they didn't have any other plans, so they thought they would go walk the train tracks on the west side of town. The track is situated with miles of woods on either sides and no one else around, and at this point the sun is about to set and the two begin walking down the tracks.
They passed some boxcars and got further and further down the tracks. And 15 or so minutes into their walk, they got this sudden urge to look up.
And they see it. A half-mile down, standing directly in the middle of the tracks, was the shape of a person, but this figure was unnaturally tall, standing stiff, arms at both sides. What is that? We need to go, they said as they grabbed hands and spun back around towards the direction they came. They walked briskly for about a minute, and then the girl turned around to see this figure was now much closer. It was like he suddenly jumped half the distance between where he originally was. The girl screamed and then they began sprinting, and a few moments later, she sneaked another look back over her shoulder. And there he was, now only one boxcar away. The unnaturally tall person was mere feet from them. They continued sprinting, refusing to look back until they finally made it back to their car and frantically jumped inside. They looked back up towards the dark tracks,
but there was no one in sight.
In years since, the two grew apart but frequently sent each other Slender Man articles, as the legend resembles the figure that they saw that night to a T.
The Slender Man only moves towards you when you aren't looking. Maybe he's more than just a legend. What are your thoughts on this story and the Slender Man?
For more mysteries, check out the podcast, YouTube channel, and Instagram.
If I am not mistaken, I'm pretty sure Slender Man is based off of a game, so I doubt that was Slender Man, dude. Yo, they be saying Slender Man is real? I'm like, bro, so you tell me they made the game off of a real life thing? I don't think so. I think the game happened and then people adjusted it to real life. I'm like, bruh. Slender Man, a tall guy with no face, long arms, 7 foot plus that doesn't move unless you look at him. Interesting.
Can we please talk about...
Oh, you also forgot he's also in a business suit? Why a business suit, dude?
Can we please talk about this picture? Okay, this was from a home security camera. It was captured in 2015 because that tricycle that you're seeing, it kept showing up in this person's backyard. So the context of this is that this is one of those cameras that doesn't take video. It like captures a still every few seconds, and sure enough, the tricycle appears. But look at the background. The more I looked at this, the more I lost my mind. Those are feet. Those are feet of a person who is standing there in this shot in the background. Even the homeowner, John Coleman, he didn't even catch that when he was looking at the background. Somebody had to point that out to him when he looked at the footage. What's even crazier is that this didn't even help. They never caught who was doing this. So who was this person and why were they leaving that tricycle?
This scary story will instantly transport you right back to childhood. Terrifying. This is the green ribbon. Once there was a girl named Jenny. She was like all the other girls except one thing. She always wore a green ribbon around her neck. There was a boy named Alfred in her class. Alfred liked Jenny and Jenny liked Alfred. One day he asked her, "Why do you wear that ribbon all the time?" "I can't tell you," Jenny told him, but Alfred kept asking, and Jenny told him it isn't important. Jenny and Alfred grew up and fell in love. One day they got married, and after the wedding, Alfred said, "Now we are married, you must tell me why you wear the green ribbon." "You must wait," said Jenny. "I will tell you when the right time comes." Years passed, and Alfred and Jenny grew old. One day, Jenny became really sick, and the doctor told her this was the end. Jenny called Alfred to her side and said, "Alfred, now I can tell you about the green ribbon. Untie, and you will see why I couldn't tell you before." Slowly and carefully, Alfred untied the ribbon, and Jenny's fell right off. I am 30 years old. The way this story has stuck with me, traumatizing, but in a good way. The green ribbon is from the book In a Dark, Dark Room and Other Scary Stories by Alvin Schwartz. Do you remember this story from childhood?
That's a little strange, don't you think? That sounded like a good story though. Like she told this man,
"Yeah, we gotta wait,"
and then bro married her. She was like,
"Nah, I still gotta wait."
And she was like,
"You can just wait a little bit longer."
She was about to die before this dude could take that show. If I was him, I'd be like,
"Yo, ain't no way her head just fell off, bro. Like, what type of sorcery is this?"
The fact that a lot of celebrities, and especially in the music industry, are all of a sudden all wearing red. Their performances are looking real satanic, ritualistic. We're gonna jump right into this. But do take the time to check this video out, because it could be an artist that you're listening to. Remember, whatever we consume, whatever we listen to, whatever we watch, becomes us. Vibration is everything. Frequency is everything. There's a lot of negative frequency when it comes to these type of artists and the music that they put out there to the masses. Just remember that. So first on the list is Megan Thee Stallion, real satanic, devil-like. And then look at this clip, brimstone and fire. Everything's on fire. People are dying, turning into ashes, kind of like apocalyptic. You see the serpent tongue. She's levitating. Serpent's all black, red bedding. She's moving in like a lustful manner. Those long claws. And next on the list, we got Travis Scott. As you can see right here in the photo, it looks like little blue figures are going inside what seems to be a portal, coming out the other side as little red demons. The theme of his park to get into the concert, really similar to the Mouth of Hell, also known as Dante's Inferno, as you can see here in the imagery. Really close resemblance. You're entering to get filled with negative vibrational frequencies. Next, we got Cardi B. I don't even really got to say much. I mean, look at her outfit. Plus, just listen to what she said in one of her interviews. Check this out.
I don't know why I didn't want her to do this song, Shake It, or like any drill songs, because it's like these songs are activating like these demons. You know what I'm saying?
All right, next on the list, we got Billie Eilish. So it looks like she gets stuck in the back with a bunch of these like syringes with needles. And then she's an angel in the sky. She's coming down. She's in all white wings, hits the floor. She lands in tar, and then she walks out of the tar. Fallen angel. I mean, come on now. Look at the wings. They're not angelic anymore. They're more demonic, evil. Look at the people burning in the fire. All right, next we got Doja Cat. I mean, I ain't even really got to say much. Her outfit looked ridiculous. She looked just like the baby on the cover of American Horror Story Apocalypse, where it has like the demon finger telling the baby. I mean, Doja Cat went even as far as deleting all her content on TikTok and then uploading her profile picture as something demonic. Then we got Rihanna dressed in all red, and her stage setup kind of looks like structure of a pyramid, and then she does the famous triangle with her hands at the end, and then she looks off to the side. It's like a confirmation. All right, next we got Lil Uzi Vert. I mean, right here, like, look, he literally dressed up all demon in black. And then I know a lot of people have seen this clip where he says, "I make a city girl believe in Satan." Lil Uzi Vert, Lucifer, Lil Uzi Vert, Lucifer, Lil Uzi Vert. Next is Lil Nas X. I mean, this one is extremely just blatant right in front of our faces. His song Montero, all these scenes in it. And then let's talk about the shoes that he attempted to come out with. Obviously they got canceled because, I mean, Nike did sue over this shoe because it was made with real human blood. I mean, the guy states that it was a bunch of pricks, you know, to get his blood for these shoes. Let's actually look at these shoes real quick. So as you can see right there, there's 666, and then on the front of it, it's Luke 10:18. Luke 18 states, he replied, I saw Satan fall like lightning from heaven. I mean, peep the snake eyes too. I mean, serpent, come on. Next up is Trippie Redd. I mean, and then we got Trippie Redd on Demon Time. Demon Time. Next on the list, we got Sam Smith. I mean, come on now, look at his entrance, all the red. And then it just so happened as he's doing this performance, he's got the devil horns. They're playing the song Unholy. It looks like a damn ritual. In the same hour, there's a massive earthquake in Turkey. Next is Playboi Carti. I mean, come on, he takes a lot of pictures like this. He's got the horns. I mean, his performance, upside down cross flashing. I heard and read online that there was actual people, you know, possessed in the crowd. I mean, come on, Playboi Carti literally has Satan tattooed on the back of his neck, guys. Next, we have Lady Gaga. I mean, look at her outfit. And then on top of her outfit, look at her performance. It looks like, you know, another satanic ritual, all the red. Next up, we got Beyonce. As you can see here on the British Vogue magazine, I mean, speaks for itself. Really looks like it's one of the 4 horsemen. There she is right there with the famous hand triangle. And peep this part of this song. Listen, it is The Weeknd. Even though I just covered this in a more detailed video before this, where Satan flashes in the background at one of his concerts. Boom. And sorry if I look so tired. I just got off a very long day at work, but I wanted to get this content out to you guys. If you guys are rocking with me, please just follow. Much love to you guys. Have a good night.
Bro, Lil Nas X adding real blood to his shoes? Why? And whose blood is that? That's so weird, dude. What the? You can tell, like, the whole industry is just straight demonic. Like, why is the whole thing just demons, 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 devil, hell, Satan, 666? Like, what? Like, why is the whole culture just a demon? That's why these kids think it's cool nowadays, bro. Like, it's just so weird. And they'll be doing it. Like, what? Like, why are they trying to get the pass? Like, for those who don't know, if you want to catch a football, like an American football, this is the signal to pass the ball. I call that celebrity devil, like a little over eye thing. This thing, the football pass symbol. I'm like, yo, why is he trying to? I don't know, man. I'm not even like a celebrity, so I won't even really know. But that whole culture is just, you know, stay over there. But anyways, if you guys like the video, please like the video. Remember to subscribe. Check out the Patreon. The chains are also free for a limited time, so check that out. Peace out, boys.